All right, what's going on, you guys? This is BoxingWave. Wanted to do a quick video on Paulie Malignaggi against Artem Lobov. Okay, I just finished watching a fight a little while ago, and look, I don't think there was any kind of robbery or anything like that. I did see the post-fight interview with Paulie, and he's basically saying, I only got hit with one clean shot. I believe the cut that he received was from a headbutt because I did see a headbutt in there somewhere. Maybe it was around the fourth round, third or fourth round. I'm not really sure, but listen, I don't think it was any kind of robbery. I gave the first round to Lobov just because he was very aggressive. Didn't land anything really that clean. I think he had one good shot in there in the first round, but Paulie started out very slow. All right, he didn't throw many punches in the first round at all. Okay. Um, Second and third rounds, I gave to Paulie clearly, especially the second round. The second round, he landed jabs. I mean, it looked like a boxing match in the second and third round. Okay. The best punch of the fight was a right hand that Paulie landed, and it was the cleanest punch out of all of the punches. All right, it wasn't too many clean punches outside of the jabs Paulie was landing. I did see Lobov land a couple of left hands here and there, but a lot of them were grazing Paulie and leaving him off balance because he was doing a lot of movement. And whenever Arthur landed, a lot of them weren't really that flush, all right? But that was his money shot. That was his power shot. Um, but I gave Paulie the second and third rounds, and I gave Artem the fourth and fifth rounds, all right? By that point, Paulie was just pretty much trying to win the fight just using his jab, and it wasn't working out that way. In the fourth round, I think Artem realized that he was losing the fight, and he just started to come at Paulie very aggressive. And then he was tying up a lot too, and just throwing punches while they were tying up and stuff like that. I think because of his strength and his power, I think those were the advantages he had. Plus, he had both of his hands to use. Okay, so Paulie, he became very limited early. I think like after the second round, I think after that right hand I saw in the second round, I really didn't see him use his right hand like that. And he did say at the end of the fight that he think his hand might be broken. Okay, but it was pretty clear that something wasn't right because he would keep his right hand out there. It was opportunities for him to throw it, but he wasn't throwing it. And I think in the fifth round was clear to me something was wrong because he's just still throwing jabs here and there. And I gave Artem that last round clearly because Paulie was just making him miss and not making him pay. I mean, you still got to fight, you still got to throw punches. So it really doesn't matter if you are showing good defense. You still got to fight at the end of the day. And Paulie just he has very brittle hands, And listen, I mean, when it comes to talent, it's not even close between the two. It wasn't even close when I was watching the fight. Like he said, like Paulie said at the end of the fight, Arthur didn't really land any real significant clean shots like that. But it's the fact that he was still being the aggressor for the most majority of the fight. He landed some powerful shots here and there. Um, the fight really didn't live up to all the hype. And I wasn't expecting it to because Paulie's just not that kind of fighter. Okay? He's not that kind of fighter. And Artem is a guy that even though he's experienced and doing the bare knuckle thing, he's had a fight there. He looks like a guy that's still an MMA guy. So he looked a little awkward in there too. It's not like just because he's done it before, just because he's an MMA fighter. Paulie had the advantage because they're only using hands. So I thought Artem looked like the more inexperienced guy to me. It's just that Paulie was very limited because he can't fight. He's not a puncher. He's not a puncher, and he was limiting his boxing ability by not using a whole hand. Besides the jab and a couple of check left hooks here and there, he really didn't throw much. Okay, and he's not a power puncher, and he's not an inside game fighter neither. So whenever the fight was close, and whenever Artem became very aggressive, and he was just lunge in, Paulie didn't make him pay outside of you know using a check left hook every now and then. It wasn't really no really big power shots coming in. There was no uppercuts or anything like that. He didn't really throw any like blinding shots like that to Artem. So he was very limited, and it just wasn't that good of a fight. And to be honest, like I watched a good portion of the undercard. Okay, I didn't pay for the pay-per-view, but I did watch. All right, uh, I watched a good portion of it, and I've seen it before. It's a very young organization. Okay, I don't want to say it's a young sport, but it is kind of a young sport because all of the other bare knuckle fighting I've seen like on YouTube, it's like these YouTube channels that just have their own bare knuckle thing, and they're fighting. There's plenty of them out there now on YouTube. All right, but with this, the talent is not really there yet. That's why they bring in people like Paulie Malignaggi in to get more viewers. But the talent is that it reminds me like of a young UFC. Like I remember watching UFC one back in the day, um, when it came out. My dad let me watch it back then, and I remember how the talent wasn't really there yet in the earlier days. You just had a bunch of guys with a bunch of different styles, and they were fighting with no weight classes. All right, but the talent wasn't there back then like that. That's why Ken Shamrock and Royce Gracie was just so much better than everybody else back then. And this sport here, it reminds me of that. When I'm watching the undercard, I'm like, where are they getting these guys? And they're paying them very low because they just don't have the funds yet to pay in top dollar to all of these big names. So I think right now I'm not a fan of it. Out of all the fights that I've seen tonight, and even some of the ones I've seen on YouTube, I'm just not a fan of it because the talent isn't really there. I don't want to just see like two random guys that they look like they just found from anywhere fight each other. You know, some of those guys, I'm not trying to diss them all. Some of those guys are really talented, but some of those guys are just in there for a check. And this is the last thing they could do. You're not fighting elite fighters. You're not gonna see elite fighters, and even Paulie Malignaggi at this point, he's way way past his career. He's had his better days years ago as a boxer. As a boxer, all right. So for him to go in there and not being known as a puncher, to go in there now and fight bare fisted, bare knuckle, he's not. I mean, he's a championship caliber boxer when he was at his prime, but he's way past that now, and he's not a puncher. So that's what made this fight competitive. But it wasn't good. It wasn't really a good fight, to me, because Artem is not a good boxer, and Paulie is a boxer that was very limited for one hand and lost the fight because he just didn't throw enough punches. All right, the fourth and fifth round, his fifth round especially, he didn't throw anything. All right, so it looked like Paulie just went in there and got a check. And as long as fighters are just coming in to just get a check, you're not going to see much talent there. It's too early in the game. You know, a couple of years down the line, if this thing doesn't fall off the map like the big knockout boxing did, all right, that BKB thing that they had a few years back, that came out. We saw Gabe Rosado fighting, I think Brian Vera, I think Shane Mosley might have fought on there too. Um, these are guys that are not on the elite level or like has been type of guys. So I expect the same with this bare knuckle thing. You're not going to see the elite type of fighters because they don't have the funds to pay these guys yet. But I don't know. Me personally, I'm not really a fan of it. It's just not really my thing. I don't like. And this is another thing too. When the fights go past the first round, second round, these guys really don't have it in them to keep fighting at the same pace. They're gonna slow down even more dramatically here because, first of all, they're not like world level fighters, and second of all, who can keep punching with no protection, you know? And I think that's what Paulie was trying to do. He was trying to drag it out. And you saw him in the first, I think the second round and the third round, you saw him throwing a lot of body shots. And like, this is only a 5 round, 2 minute or per round fight. And these guys look tired after the first round. Not only that, but, the punch resistance, it's not, you're not going to have it as so much there because this is bare knuckle. The punches hurt more, right? But your hands are taking a lot of punishment as well. So I don't know, man. I just, it's not really my thing. I rather watch MMA or watch boxing. It's just me, but I can see it maybe possibly blowing up later down the line. It's just like right now, it's not for me. But maybe down the line, I could see myself maybe liking it better down the line when they pick up some really good talent on there. Just not yet. Not for me. Not right now. All right, so that's my thoughts on it. I think Paulie lost. I thought Artem won 3 rounds or two. I gave Artem the first and the last two just because Paulie just didn't throw enough. You know, and I understand you can make the argument that Artem, he was aggressive, but he wasn't landing that many shots. But the thing is, Paulie wasn't throwing any neither. You know, Artem was landing some shots. They weren't the cleanest shots, but he was landing some stuff in there. All right. So anyway, that's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with some more content. All right. Peace.